We're following developments tonight out of Twitter. The deadline has now passed for employees to decide if they want to work there under Elon Musk. The new CEO told those who did not share his vision or were not willing to work intense hours to leave. The deadline was today at 5 p.m. Eastern, and employees were offered 3 months of severance. NBC technology correspondent Jake Ward joins us now with more. And Jake, depending on what you're watching on social, it looks like a number of people at least are tweeting that they're out and that they have made no secret of their desire not to work under these new conditions. But what more are you hearing?
Well, Joshua, at this hour, really what is not happening at Twitter? We, as you mentioned a few hours ago, were looking at this deadline, this ultimatum that Elon Musk had put in front of his staff, essentially saying, click here to commit to extreme, hardcore working conditions. And it was not spelled out in an internal FAQ document exactly how that might change, for instance, the benefits you would have, only that you would be working harder, possibly working weekends. The ultimatum that he put in front of people seemed to have been intended to sort of weed out the people who weren't adequately committed. Well, supposedly at this hour, not enough people have clicked that committal button to basically keep the place running. What we are hearing from internal engineers is that critical teams charged with the infrastructure that keeps Twitter going. And again, this is not just some company. This is the way that world leaders speak to each other. This is the way that police get evacuation orders out, right? That site is in danger of going down because some of the critical teams in charge of infrastructure are supposedly walking right out of that place. Here's another important thing to understand at this hour, Joshua, is that right now, as we understand it, an internal email went out to everyone. It's been shared with our colleagues at CNBC saying we are shutting down the offices. So the big Twitter HQ, the iconic building, is locked out as of this hour until Monday. Not clear why that might be, but certainly the paranoia we have seen from Elon Musk over the last few days seems to have been reflected in the order to shut people out of that building. So tremendous resignations. The ultimatum does not seem to have gone the way he intended it to. And at this hour, that building is empty, Joshua.
So this is a lot of upheaval in a very short period of time. And for people who don't know San Francisco, that building was the source of a lot of political unrest because Twitter got tax breaks from a previous mayoral administration, including to keep it there on Mid-Market Street in a more or less beleaguered part of downtown San Francisco at the time. So there's a lot of unrest going on at Twitter right now. But, Jake, just a little bit of context. We have heard from people in other parts of tech, especially, say, the video game industry, where grinding on software is normal, right? Where it is expected as part of the culture that you're going to work crazy long hours, you'll get paid well, you'll get great benefits, but it's just de rigueur. It's just sort of the way that things are done. This feels different, though. This feels like it's a cultural shift that people didn't accept when they got there, but now they're being forced to accept to stay there. Do I have that kind of right?
I think you absolutely do. I think we're looking here at a big shift. And, you know, I can absolutely understand to somebody looking in from the outside, looking at this and saying, how can these people be complaining? They're some of the best paid, most valuable employees in the world, right? And the complaints that we have seen in recent days that Elon Musk and his team are scouring the tweets of employees to make sure they are not disparaging their former employer. You know, that is weird for a guy who claims to be a free speech absolutist, but it is absolutely normal in corporate America, right? We at any company are required to not disparage that company publicly. So all of that, I understand. What we're also seeing, however, is a big shift from what was really an article of faith in working at Twitter, that you were there as part of a piece of big, important civic infrastructure. You were theoretically trying to keep people together. We're talking about the instrument by which world leaders who have no other diplomatic channel to speak to one another get the word out to one another across Twitter, right? It is an extraordinary channel in terms of what it does, and it is largely unique in this landscape at this moment. I think that the bargain that people who were working there really made with themselves was, we're going to go and work as hard as we can on this place in order, because we believe in it. Then Elon Musk comes in and begins talking about how he wants to blow all of that up. He, of course, throws away the verification system, which could prove that anyone was who they say they wanted to be, and wound up not only ultimately alienating big advertisers who got impersonated by various paying jokesters and wound up not only losing stock value, but then pulling out of the advertising they had placed on Twitter. But he was also, by doing that, according to the people we've been speaking to inside, endangering what makes Twitter valuable, which is, again, this piece of important civic infrastructure that people were communicating across. Now, I was a big critic of Twitter. We've all been a big critic of Twitter. But the people that agreed that it needed to be improved, a lot of those people seem to be walking out the door at this hour, and that is part of what's so concerning here, Joshua.
I do want to note that just in the time we have been talking, Elon Musk tweeted again. He tweeted, "How do you make a small fortune in social media? Start out with a large one." That does not sound optimistic. We will see what happens out of Twitter in the days to come.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.